YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of Kamen Rider Ex-Aid episode 17. Yes, 17. So, yeah, I wasn't a fan of this episode, to be honest. You might already know that if you follow me on Twitter. So, I don't know where to start. Okay, there was concepts I liked in this episode that I thought were actually pretty interesting and a neat way to get some plot points going. But it was all about the presentation, which I think is going to be a major part of this review, is that the main plot revolved around getting level 4 hamburger form. So it's kind of weird. I thought it was weird when I first heard about it that we're going back to do a level 4 form after we already skipped so many levels. We're like 1, 2, 3, 10, 20. Or 5, 10, 20. So, and especially since Ex-Aid had that line about not skipping levels, like in the first batch of episodes, which is funny. But I thought that was weird. But the explanation was kind of cool. Well, kind of cool and kind of stupid at the same time. It was kind of stupid for Ex-Aid to leave most of his gashats at home except for his primary one because it was his day off. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that before. I can't think of another rider situation where that's happened, where the rider's like left at home like his wallet. Like, there's been times where the riders, you know, their rider system got stolen, or it was broken, or something, but I can't think of a time where they're like, oh man, I left it at home with my car keys. So like, that's why he didn't have all like Mighty Brothers and Drago Hunter and Robotots. Robotots? That sounds like a porn. Like a really like low budget like potato porn. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but he didn't have anything except the regular form. He needed more power. This rando dude who's connected to a hamburger gave him, was a Juju burger, and it was like level 4, and it's like a serving up eating game. And so, and then I was like, what the hell? Is this Power Rangers? We just have a random dude giving him a power with no explanation. But then you find out he actually used to work for the Gundam Corporation and was creating it for them, and then it didn't get funded, and there was like reasons. It wasn't gonna get funded, and they decided not to do it, but he wanted to do it. He ended up finishing it himself so that he could take it to them in case they needed it. So like that was actually kind of cool, and I think that he's gonna be involved with the next form. So it was a cool way of introducing him, and it was actually kind of a neat way to introduce that and give him a reason for it. And then there was this other element to the story of the Bugster was his friend, because like he created this character for the game, and then they were friends. And like, oh, don't kill him. It's kind of like that classic Sentai or Power Rangers trope episode where you have the friendly monster. They even did it last year with Ghosts. I can't remember the names of the, I can't remember the name, Gamma. That were like a painter and a singer or whatever, and then they left off to go do stuff together. So we already did that last year. So like, you know what I'm talking about. But again, it's all about the presentation. There's kind of an interesting potential there for, oh, isn't the stupid annoying girl a Bugster too? Anyway, but like for like, oh, maybe not all Bugsters could be bad, you know, and then there was kind of the neat aspect at the end of you don't need to destroy him to defeat him because the game works differently, which makes sense for the game, which was cool. But again, it's about the presentation. I liked the ideas, but it was kind of like what I hate about Ninja is it was just so on with its wackiness. And that humor just doesn't land for me. And I understand humor is subjective, but regardless of any kind of humor, really, even if it's my type of humor, if you're just constantly being like, laugh, laugh, then when you're trying to do something I'm supposed to take seriously for your plot, or like acknowledge it, it won't let me. Like, that's why I didn't like Ninja. It's like when they tried to get quiet for a second and be like, this is the storyline, backstory. It's like, yeah, I can't take you seriously. You're a joke. And that's the way I felt about this episode. It was just so on and in your face and honking, and I just hated it because I hate that humor, and it was drowning out the cool ideas it had, and it just annoyed me to no end. And you have the burger guy and my least favorite character, Papu Poo Poo Pee Pee Head, like just hosting a fake TV show and like weird relationship with the burger. And then of course Genom shows up at the end of the episode and kills him just for the sake of it, and he also doesn't want the game to be out there because he's the only one that can create games. Boy, is he gonna be pissed if he checks out IGN. So that was a thing, but it was just, I just didn't like it. It just annoyed me, and I hate that. And I mentioned it on Twitter, and I talked about, I just want to mention this briefly, because I was making a joke about how I've seen multiple people being like, Ex-Aid's the next guy. And I made a joke about that, and people were like, is writers not supposed to be serious? And I'm like, well, okay. My joke was basically off the people saying that. But regardless of tone or humor, for me, Ex-Aid's just not anywhere near as intriguing as Gaim was. The characters are all generic. They're not anywhere near feel as like real people as Gaim's did. Gaim's feel like people making decisions. These just feel like generic archetypes. And with Gaim, it was the first time in I don't know how long. I would just be sitting there on my own, not doing a review or a podcast or tweeting, and just actively be thinking about theories about it. But Ex-Aid is just the same stupid template we've been using since Double, just rearranged differently. That's what it is for me right now. It can be enjoyable for sure, but like my point was, it's nowhere near as intriguing. And I know that like it's kind of the new status quo. Rider is a bit lighter now, and it's not like it was ever. I'm not one of those people that's like dark gritty. But you're kidding yourself if you don't think that Kuga through Kabuto didn't have a different mood. That's what I liked about Rider back in my day, is that it had a distinct mood from Sentai. Like, it was very distinct tones. Just even the way it was filmed. It's hard to explain unless you watched it and know what I'm talking about. It just had a certain vibe. And with all toku like that, Sentai and Rider, there's always comedy. There's always a place for comedy. But it's all about the presentation and the timing. Like, you make even Gaim had really over-the-top stuff, but it made the time for it, and it didn't let it interrupt it. And there's a real stark contrast between Gaim was about fruits. That's like, could be way sillier than video games, but they played it unbelievably straight. I can't think of a time they really... There was times they made it a joke a bit, but not really that I can distinctly remember where this one's like, oh, video games, and like, the burger thing... I don't even think Ninja made that much of a joke out of the burger. So it's like, I'm not saying you never can have humor and laughs. It's just, I prefer the more subtle humor, like Agito sticking his finger in a fish. There was legit funny moments back in the day. And there's a time and a place for it. It's not about no humor, or even the wacky humor, because it's subjective. It's just about making a time and a place, and not just making the whole show silly string in my face. I just wanted to address that because it bothers me. Because you have the same exact people that say Sentai is more serious than Power Rangers is for adults that are being like, you're taking it too seriously, it's a kid's show. It's like, well, you can't have it both ways, man. And again, I'm not even getting into the whole kid's show thing. I mean, Voltron's like leagues better than Ex-Aid, and that's supposed to be a kid's show. Rebels? I mean, Ex-Aid's not even near Rebels League. You don't even know who the Rebels are. You don't even have an Ahsoka. But anyway, back to the episode itself. I just wasn't a fan. Like I said, there were some cool ideas that actually got stuff moving forward a little bit, but it was just kind of drowned out for me with all the horn honking. One other thing I wanted to mention that was funny, that I don't know whether it was translation exactly, but at the end when Ex-Aid was mad that Genom took out the burger guy, the subtitles said, Burger Stir, whatever his name was, I don't remember, I think it was Burger Stir, whatever, was a good boy. And like the subtitle says that, and he's like really angry. And it was just funny. So I don't know like if that was just a translation thing, like they messed it up, or like it's hard to directly translate, but it was just funny. So yeah, probably my least favorite of episode so far. No, but my least favorite episode of Ex-Aid so far, I probably get a 5.5. But at least there's a couple interesting cogs moving, so let's hope next week's a little less on. But anyway, that's about it. Until next time, check out the Crazy Podcast at writersrangernovels.com, and of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, Dawson Rider, signing out.